Ken's a little anal on that, you know?
Okay.
I just only saw it.
Yeah. Okay. Small group time will now consist of starting with prayer, and the kids have a prayer journal in their books, and you can encourage the kids to use that and, you know, get to some really meaty prayer requests that you can follow up on and have a really good prayer time with the kids. Then they'll do the Start Here, which is an activity to get the kids thinking about the discussion at hand. Then they have Explore, and that's where they have the Bible study. Memorization is the verse and a review, and then they have the opportunity for the kids to pass a section. So that's what small group time looks like. And at my church, that session's 25 minutes long. That's a lot to pack in 25 minutes. And I was concerned because my kids don't come with their books done ahead of time. And so I'm like, if I'm going to go tell my leaders to go through the Bible study with the kids, will they have enough time to complete it? So I practiced. I tried. And so this Sunday during Sunday school, we had Awana small group time instead of Sunday school, and I got through it all in 18 minutes, and up till the point of the kids saying the verse. So yes, that could have happened in 25 minutes, but I kept them moving right along, and I started the watch when they were seated. And you know, I do think that that's a lot to pack in that time. So that could be a concern for your churches that they, you know, just can't get this done.
What was your prep time?
So I prepped in 10 minutes. I took longer because I was doing it for video. I made a video of it and I felt like I needed to be really good. But I think that I could prep for small group time in 10 minutes. Awana suggests 20 to 25 minutes. But what I did for prep is I did the Start Here, which is just this activity. Like the first one is draw something that you made. This isn't my book, this one is. So I drew something that I had made. Then I looked up these verses, which this one is just Genesis 1:1, Genesis 1:27. So it's verses that I'm already familiar with, and I think that most of the book will be that way. That if you have leaders that got saved more than 2 weeks ago, they probably read Genesis 1:1 and Genesis 1:27. Okay, so they should have some familiarity with these topics. That they don't need to get out a commentary and watch a sermon online about the topic. I mean, they can if they want to. I don't think it's necessary. All these answers are in the back of the book already for the leaders in the leader guide. And you know, I looked at those answers, but I also did look up the verses just because I want to read the verse and make sure, you know, rather than just write down the answer. And that was it. I pulled a game for the review verse. These pages are out of order in my opinion in this book, but here's the review verse. I pulled a game for that and I went with it. I think that as your leaders do more and more prep, they'll get quicker at their preparation time. You know, the first time they'd be like, that took me 20 minutes to go through that and think about what I was going to tell the kids and all that kind of stuff. But I think as they become familiar, they'll be able to speed up their prep time. To be honest, I have some leaders, so when I switched to Together We Move, I taught them how to teach a verse, and I told them to make an introduction, explain it, present it from God's Word, do a review game, and then that's how you teach the verse. And to be honest, I think I had some leaders that were winging it. But they winged it just fine. I mean, you know, I would sit in their presentation, I'd be like, I think maybe they were winging it. And they did okay. I mean, everybody has their own teaching style. And you know, now they don't have to come up with all this on their own. It's already done for them, you know? There's even an activity, the Make It Stick activity that's already done for them, so I think it's a lot easier on them than it used to be, but yeah, it took me 10 minutes. Might take up to 20. Okay. That's probably more information than you wanted for that simple question.
No, that's
okay.
what I was getting at.
Okay. So this is what I would recommend for a leader preparation. First, they need to pray about it, and really, you know, ask God to help them understand what they're going to be teaching the kids and present it accurately to the kids. They need to complete the Start Here activity themselves before they get to club, and they also need to complete the Explore section before they get to club. I think if you're going to ask the kids to do it, it's good for them to see that you already have it done. It would be one reason. Also, just you're going to be better at leading a discussion if this isn't the first time you've looked at it yourself. Then the leaders need to familiarize themselves with the memory verse, think about how they're going to explain it to the kids, look for any tough words or concepts, and think how they're going to make that make sense for the kids. Then they need to pick a fun memorization activity. And that's it. I think that that's doable for a leader. And, you might have leaders that say, I can't do that. And if, 100% of your leaders say they can't do it, then maybe you need to cast the vision again or get some new leaders. I don't know. Find some leaders that are willing to, I don't know, but I really think they will be willing to. And, they are going to get excited when they see the kids learning and engaged, and they'll be all about it. They really will. So on club night, I tell my leaders, I'm like, write the verse on the whiteboard before the kids get in there. Don't take the time to do that while they're piling in the room and wasting that time there. When I have my meetings in August where we have our leader training before the year starts, I have the leaders practice. So I teach them how to do a small group time on one night, and then I say, okay, you all go home and you do lesson 1.1 and come back next week and you'll have a chance to do it to your fellow leaders and give them a turn at doing it on a leader and on their director, and that really helps give them the confidence before they go in front of kids. They're like, okay, I did it with this group of adults, it worked out okay, or I saw someone else do it, that's how it goes, it'll click for them better, okay? So that's what I recommended for the leaders' preparation. So here are some things to consider about that. We talked about Bible study versus Bible discussion, depending on how prepared the kids are when they come, and either leading the kids exactly through the Explore section step by step, or just touching on the main points in your discussion. We always teach our leaders to read the memory verse from the Bible, to not read it from the handbook when they present the words. That way the kids are reminded again that the words they're memorizing are really from God's Word, the Bible, not just memorizing this handbook. We encourage the kids to look up the verses in the Explore passage. We encourage them to look up the memory verse. That way they're learning how to use their Bible, and again, they're learning that this is God's Word, the Bible, that they are memorizing and reading. If the Explore section has verses from multiple passages, I would write them up on the whiteboard. If there was like 3 or 4 different verses, and I would say, okay, I want you 3 to look up the first verse, and the next 3 look up the second verse, just to save time so that kids aren't spending a lot of time flipping between the passages. The example section that I did for the video, which you'll see, it's all in Genesis 1. So I had all the kids look up to those verses, and they read all the verses in Genesis 1, but there are other sections which are different, where there's different passages. And I don't know if you all think that this is absurd, but in the Awana book, it says this. In the back of the leader guide, this is really good. This is really good. It has learning tools, and it tells the leaders how to prepare memory activities. And it says it says each week choose and prepare 2 or 3 activities that fit the memory verse. Explain and demonstrate if needed the activity options to your group. Let the kids choose. Who has time for that? I mean, we just talked like we're going to be pressed for time. Like, that would take 5 minutes. And then you got kids, well, I want to do this game. Well, I want to do this game. I'm about sure. So please tell your leaders to just pick one game, and that's the game they're playing for the night. I mean, maybe there might be a time when you could say, hey, do you guys want to play Erase a Word, or do you want to play Crazy Stand-Ups? And, they could pick. I guess that would be fine. But picking 3, preparing 3, and demonstrating 3, we don't got time for that. We gotta work on memorizing, not playing the different games. So that's the only thing that I saw in this whole book that I don't like. So if that's the only thing, we're good. We're doing good. So you got a question?
Now, do you use the Make It Stick, or is that something you have?
Sure. So a lot of the Make It Sticks were things that were designed for a kid to do on their own or with 2 or 3 other kids. So Make It Stick might be really good if the leader goes through the verse repetition and there's still some kids that don't quite have the hang of it, they aren't ready to recite their verse yet. Then they could try that Make It Stick. Some of the Make It Sticks are suggestions that you could do as a group, and if a leader wants to do that one that's assigned to that verse, that's fine, they can go for it. But there are all of these games in the back of the book that leaders can pick, and these are all appropriate for a large group of kids, all of these. So there's a lot of game options that they can do, and on this table I'm going to go over other game ideas too. So there's a lot of activities, options there, okay? Any other questions about a small group time, what that's gonna look like? Any questions? Okay, so at this point, I would like to show you the example of the video that I made on Sunday of what small group time looks like with real kids. And you'll be able to see what I did in the demonstration, how I taught it. You can pick it apart. Anytime after you do a teaching, you watch it, you're like, oh, I should have done this or that different. So I have those thoughts, but I'm still going to share it with you because I think that it will be helpful just to see how small group time will come together and how the kids responded.